Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the FB4 Daily for this Tuesday night. It's definitely Tuesday. I've checked and double checked and checked again. This show, of course, is brought to you by Paddy Power. Paddy Power is a bookies, a website and an app. If you gamble, please gamble responsibly and try to do so with Paddy Power. Odds on Liverpool, specials on Liverpool, odds on all other sports. You know the drill by now. Tonight's show, we're going to have a little talk about Joe Gomez, Raheem Sterling, Dejan Lovren. We're going to have a little chat about anything LFC that comes in. My guest has told me he absolutely adores random questions, so it's something that you're going to have to come up with very, very quickly and throughout this show, and I'll lash them at me and him as we go. But look, I'll remind you that as we go on. And my guest is Peter Smith. Peter, how are you, my man? You were on the club last week. You had a really, really good time at the lads in studio, but you'll enjoy this one a lot more because I'm a lot more sound.
Gav had a ball, as you know. Me and Phil go back a while, and you know I know Andy and the lads. So yeah, absolute ball, and thanks for having us.
Yeah, no worries at all. The first thing I want to touch on, there was a lovely video out today from Liverpool Football Club. It was inside Anfield. It's for anyone that has, I presume most people watching have seen this before. For anybody that hasn't, it's basically a behind the, I suppose, background, everything in the background that happens around the game at Anfield, in the tunnel, everything else. But there was a lovely moment at the end where you see Jordan Henderson, you see Joe Gomez, and you see Trent Alexander-Arnold, along with Peter Moore, greeting Sean Cox and his family in the tunnel. And I've mentioned it already, Peter. It's great to see the man back at Anfield, you know, after what was basically horrific what happened to him. But wasn't it such a lovely moment to show that the club actually really does care about this man and his recovery?
Yeah. I mean, forget the result. I mean, we're all buzzing. Everybody's happy. 9 points clear. Your biggest rivals. Forget it. It's all about Sean. It's all about real life. You know, what touched me the most was Peter Moore. You know, this is arguably the third most important person at the club, and he is there making sure, not that he had to, but he's making sure that all the lads are, you know, going over and making a fuss out of Sean. You can see that what it really means to the boys as well, and you know, you can see that Jordan Henderson is an emotional guy, and he carries that weight on his shoulders, you know, of making sure that the true values of the club, which is the people, you know, is what shines through in the end. To be honest, great to see Sean, you know, looking great and enjoying himself again.
Yeah, and the reception he got, you know, within the ground, his wife was on the sideline at half time talking about Sean, his recovery, how he's getting on and stuff like that, and a brilliant reception from Anfield. And just for that family to know that everyone is behind them is. It has to be inspiring to them, doesn't it? Not only Sean and his recovery, but the family to see that they've given up a lot. Like she's mentioned that, you know, that they're not even in the family home at the moment because of circumstance, and they have to be in Sheffield and stuff like that. So to see a club rally around them like that must be inspirational for not only Sean but the whole family.
And not just our club, you know. I have to say, I've got a lot of friends that are Manchester City supporters, Manchester United supporters, and even they, you know, were like, "This is amazing." You know, forget the game. It's about rallying around and supporting this man. You know, rivalries aside, you know, football aside, trophies aside, it's about that man getting back to his best and to his full capacity of health. That's all that matters. That's all that matters.
Yeah, absolutely. I just thought it was something that was definitely worth mentioning at the kick off the show, because it's probably one of the, I suppose, most important things I've seen in this weekend. You know, like you said, above football and above rivalry and above other things that we're going to talk about on this show. So, you know, it was really good to see that. Look, we're going to have to go and have a look at this Raheem Sterling, Joe Gomez thing. So. So basically, everyone that's seen it, there's a bit of a coming together in the game. Joe Gomez turns, puts his hands literally into Raheem's armpits, lifts him up and throws him away and says, "Go away." Sterling comes back, is in his face. Gomez is kind of laughing at him. From what I've heard, though, and what I've read, is that they were fine after the game. There was a handshake. It was no problem. Trent Alexander-Arnold gives an interview after the game saying, yeah, it's niggly during the game, but we're all friends, it's fine. And then we hear last night that Raheem Sterling won't be considered for England's game. I think it's against, I can't remember who that, Montenegro, is it?
Montenegro, yeah.
Yeah, Montenegro, because of an incident in the canteen at St. George's Park. Is this just something that's boiled over? It's just a silly thing. Or is that a reflection of how frustrated Manchester City were walking away from that ground on Sunday?
You're talking about the two teams that are going to be fighting it out for every honour that matters.
Yeah.
The two sets of lads are primed and ready to go with each other. It's funny. I read an article in the Daily Mail online the other day. They were talking about Pep and how desperate he is to try to figure out a way around Liverpool, a way to combat, both on and off the pitch, the pressure that man's under. And they were saying that he was taking a leaf maybe out of Dave Bassett's book, from back in Wimbledon, that he was trying to for all the injuries they have, Manchester City at the moment, that they were trying to try to get physical with Liverpool. And, I didn't think that was a bad idea. This is a guy that, he's pretty tactically flexible. So it looked to me, if you see Sterling during the game, he left it in on Van Dijk over the advertising hordings. I don't have a problem with that. Gav, you played, I played, we all played the game. You played against your friends, you played against fellas you don't know. It gets tetchy. And the one thing I'd say, fellas getting a little bit touchy and emotional on Twitter and on Facebook about this and, moralising. At the end of the day, a top professional takes it seriously. These fellas don't like losing at tiddlywinks. They don't like losing at darts. They certainly don't like losing at the game that provides them their bread and butter. Yeah. I don't have a problem with what goes on the park at all.
Yeah, to be honest, I didn't think much of it. Now I did think, I did find Sterling was getting quite annoyed from fairly early in the game. He has that run out. Trent Alexander-Arnold clatters him out on the sideline and gets away with it, and puts one on him. And then going down towards the cop end, Sterling wins a corner, but there's a little arm there from Trent, and he kind of turns around. He's in Trent's ear, But I think Sterling was trying to stand up for himself early on in that game because he's shrunk as a player at Anfield on numerous occasions. Yeah. So he was trying to basically throw his weight around and go, listen, I won't be intimidated today. But he just seemed to boil over for him, like Gomez.
This is the mistake he's made. The mistake that I think a lot of fellas make when something gets into your head, and a lot of people are making a big fuss out of we're in their heads. And this is the problem. I think the thing that made the great Liverpool sides in the past so consistently good is they stuck to their game plan. Maybe, with Sterling, he's thinking to himself, okay, I haven't performed here at Anfield. The same with, by the way, with Aguero. Aguero's never done anything of note really at Anfield. And you could see that he was kind of within himself. Instead of saying, I'm going to continue to do what I've been doing that's working against teams week in, week out, these fellas seem to want to accommodate. And as you know, the minute you change up what's working, it tends to just blow up in your face. I don't understand. My attitude would be, let's just continue to go with what works. And I think that more than anything else is what's coming to the fore. I mean, Pep, I made the point last week with the lads that you're going to see a side of Pep Guardiola, and we are seeing a side of Pep Guardiola that's not getting his own way. And I think it's creeping into his players because, as you know, the players are a reflection of their manager. They will reflect on that park what's being said.
That's a good point. I felt they were a reflection of the